Hi everyone, welcome to Cipher Tarot of the Soul. Here we use a combination of esoteric astrology and tarot. Now most of the tarots around are more focused on the sun signs through conventional astrology, traditional astrology. This channel is going to look at esoteric astrology. And esoteric astrology is the astrology of the soul, really. Now, the integration of personality, which is what traditional astrology deals with, is an ongoing process. And once this has been achieved to some degree, the goal becomes one of infusing the personality with the qualities of the soul, or to make the connection with the higher self. Now, the physical body has its higher counterpart in spiritual will or purpose. The emotional body has its higher counterpart in universal love, while the mental body or rational mind has its higher counterpart in the higher mind. In esoteric astrology, the ascendant is the key indicator of the soul's purpose. This does not mean that the empirical evidence of traditional astrology is invalid. What we can say is that the soul's purpose is projected through the persona of the ascendant. So in traditional astrology, the ascendant is symbolic of the birth or point of incarnation, of the entry of the soul into the physical plane. So esoteric astrology merely takes this a step further. If we look into the qualities of the sign on the ascendant, we can glean valuable information about the nature of spiritual purpose and service. So it is the qualities of the ascendant sign that describe the future direction of the soul, what we are growing towards, or new qualities that we are developing. So in this respect, we can see its meaning as similar in flavor to the North Node. However, the North Node is more about personality integration, or the yin and yang within the personality. The quest of the hero, which is what the North Node symbolizes, is the quest of the personality. Whereas the sign on the ascendant indicates how we can best express our personality gifts to extend beyond ourselves. To help others, to help the planet as a whole. And the other thing to notice is the house position of the esoteric ruling planet. Now, the esoteric astrology uses different ruling planets for each sign. And the house position will indicate where these soul gifts and qualities are best expressed. It points to the field of service of the soul. How beautiful. So, for those whose ascendant is in Aries, this will be a reading for you. Now, Aries, one of the callings, the soul callings, is to inspire others with ideas. Now, in esoteric astrology, it's ruled by Mercury, mind, communication, messenger of gods, and comes forth from the plane of the mind to rule. That is the underlying theme of the soul path of those with their ascendants in Aries. So a really good way to understand this would be that the position of the traditional astrological ruling planet for Aries, for example, which would be Mars, would indicate personality problems, tendencies, talents, and gifts within the physical, i.e. personality, whereas Mercury would point to the area of service of the soul. Now, if you want to go deeper, I would advise to look at the position of Mars as well to see what personality problems would get in the way. All right, so Aries Rising. Hello, my lovelies. Let's get into your reading right now. So I'm going to use the Thoth Tarot as well as the Fountain Tarot and Nicoletta Sisoli's Tarot. Now, I'm going to use the Nicoletta for inner child messages as well. But let us begin with the Thoth. All right. Angels, ancestors, spirit guides, higher beings, I call on you to help us through this reading. Please guide us towards the soul path, the Aries. Please speak to us through these cards and give us messages of healing, hope, and clarity. Please surround us all with a circle of bright white light. We're surrounded by shimmering purple. Send our grounding cords deep into the center of the earth. We connect our crown to our higher selves. So as we go through this reading together, we receive our own intuitive messages of guidance of how to take this reading into our own individual lives. Please speak to us through these cards and give us what we need today. Thank you, thank you. Please give us insights into the soul purpose, soul path of the Aries. Those with their ascendants in Aries, please. 8 of Wands, swiftness. The Fool reversed. The Hermit reversed. 6 of Cups, pleasure. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Alright, well, let's quickly get into the first part of your reading. So we are starting with the 8 of Wands. Now, the 8 of Wands in the Thoth Tarot represents stable fire, but it's electric. So it's fire that is stabilized enough to burn with speed, and it's that sort of energy, you know, where you can sometimes do too much or too quickly as well. Let's say you meet a lover for the first time, and you know, you can't get enough of each other, so you end up drinking coffee all night and staying up talking, something like that, right? That's what this energy represents. And then you got the Fool in reverse. Now we know very well that the Fool is the divine energy. It represents the birthplace of everything, right? So the Fool carries with him earth, fire, water, all the elements. And it's very interesting that in the major arcana after the Fool, in the card of the Hermit, is the first time where Mercury, which is the esoteric astrology's ruling planet for Aries, it is here that all three come together in the major arcana for the first time. So here we have the Sun, the Earth, Mercury. And as we know, Mercury is exalted in Virgo, and Hermit is the Virgo card. It's going within to find the inner divine light, right? It's like when the Fool reaches the stage of the Hermit, it's like he goes within to find the bridge between the inner and the outer world. Now, this is very interesting because when we look at the question that we were asking about soul purposes, soul movements. And I said in the beginning that once some sort of personality integration is achieved, what we're really looking for is to begin to integrate with the soul aspect of things. And the hermit is the very beginning of that. Right. And then we have the beautiful, beautiful Six of Cups. This is the card of pleasure, success. So returning to our Six of Cups. Yeah, so Six of Cups is where all the natural forces are in harmony. And as you can see, these cups are just balanced with each other. And yeah, the stems of the lotus flowers that are feeding each cup, right, are also supporting the cups. So it's like balance and harmony. And when you get this kind of harmony between different forces, we're looking at, success without effort or strain. So just effortless flow. We're talking about the flow state here. This is the beginning, the entering into the flow state, which then leads to a lot of success, right? A lot of sort of fulfillment, really. So we're talking about love here, right? We're talking about the love that you receive from your soul and the love that you have for your soul. Harmony. Yeah. I think the beginning of this new year has been this sort of rush for you, for your goals, is what you want to do. You want to rush through all of that. It's a lot of energy that you're harnessing, and it's almost like an explosion of sorts where it just really wants to very quickly, in high speed, accomplish everything. When you bring that into the Fool energy, now our Fool is reversed, which can signify some sort of folly or mania. Now, if you look at the Eight of Wands, it can quite easily go into like a manic, swift energy, can't it? So it's like there's a sudden impulse that is alive in you, right? And it's original, it's subtle, and it's sudden, right? It's swift, comes quickly within from an unexpected place, and it helps you to try to, and it endeavors to transcend the material. So there's an impulse alive in you that comes really quickly for transcendence. Now, what that requires from you, of course, is to go within and find that bridge between your external and your internal. And we have the Hermit in reversed as well. That means that you either have too much or too little of the Hermit energy going on right now. So that means either you're too isolated, way too introspective and self-absorbed right now and not paying attention to needs of others, or going out to get experiences in the external world. Because in order to make a bridge between the internal and the external, we need both. So if you have too much, right, this is asking you to find that balance. And if you have too little, it's again asking you to find that balance, and go within more, or you're going within too much and you need the external as well. Now it is one thing to just escape into the spiritual, to what we consider spiritual bypassing. Yeah, I'm really getting that over here. I feel like you are trying to spiritually bypass your lower nature. If you notice right here, now upright, the yeah, so upright, this little symbol here, the three-headed dog, represents our lower nature. This is the monster that had to be tamed to rescue Persephone. And yeah, and this represents the lower nature. So the first head is is what you speak. Second is the thoughts, and the third is the action. So in order to really truly connect with the higher self, the lower self, harmony has to be found with our lower selves, because it is only then when we have reached that harmony with our lower selves that we're able to allow the lower self to be used as a vehicle for the expression of the higher self, you know. So only when the vessel, which is the lower self, prepared to receive the light of the higher self so that it can contain that light, only then can that light be invited in, because the higher self means to guide us and help us and give us what we need and not overwhelm us with too much light either. So the more we prepare the lower selves, the more we overcome sort of the limitations of the physical, the more we are open to receiving from the spiritual. There are those who try to bypass using spirituality, bypass their lower selves, not listen, not find harmony within, but just go up into the sky and forget about the world, the physical plane completely, and that is out of balance. It doesn't actually connect you in the way it's just bypassing. Really, it's escapism. It doesn't work. It's just a temporary, maybe band-aid on top of whatever you're suffering from, right? For those of you who are single, I feel that there's a desire in you to find a relationship. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, it like hit me like a punch in my throat, really. Someone has a very strong desire to get in a relationship, and it feels like their fantasy is that their partner would help them overcome what they are unable to within themselves. Yeah, the inner harmony that they're unable to find. Well, they think unable, I would say. Unwilling or not ready yet, or still in process of finding. Sometimes the ego creates illusions, you know, that we can't, that it's impossible, and when we believe the ego in those instances, it just, you know, means that we stay in the patterns that we are, because, you know, the mind does fight back, because it's the fear mind. It gets afraid of what is to come. It's not quite comfortable in the unknown, is it? So yeah, so then for those of you in relationships, it's like you don't have enough space for self-reflection. You need that. It's almost like some people have too much self and some people have too much other, and that balance has to be found. The bridge has to be created. And when that balance is found, when that bridge is created, then you're able to peek behind the veil and connect deeply, deeply with yourselves and your higher self, actually. And when that happens, what do you have? The beginnings of success. So this is like the first solid beginning of success, right? Of pleasure, of love, of fulfillment. These are 6 cups. They're not overflowing, they're full. And they each have their own reservoir of supply. So you see, it's like healthy interdependence rather than codependence. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So see where you're lacking. Yeah, so for this month of January and February, really look at that. Take time be grateful. Take time to be grateful. Take time to be grateful. Yes. And my Moonology deck just kind of fell, and these cards popped out. They really wanted to be a part of your reading, and it's amazing. It's all new moon cards that have come out. And they end in the new moon in Aries. Yeah. So we have new moon in Capricorn. Your hard work is paying off. We have new moon in Virgo, a time to give rather than a time to take. And we have new moon eclipse, expect powerful change. And new moon in Aries, it's time to take action. Beautiful, beautiful. So amazing clarifiers for their spread, really. So if you look at this, so this swiftness, this sort of sudden impulse that comes in, right? We looked at that with the Fool's energy. It's like it's saying all the hard work you've put in so far is paying off. You are being guided. You are receiving what you're looking for. You just have to follow the path. Just keep following the path. Keep trusting. Really, I feel like some of you don't trust your inner guidance, your intuition as much. And I think that is something that has to be worked on to facilitate this. Now, how do you develop that trust, right? And the answers for those really do lie within the Fool and the Hermit cards for you right here. Now, this sudden impulse that has arisen in you in the Fool energy, right? This has come out of all the work that you have done so far, and your higher self thinks that you are now ready for the next step, and hence this impulse is coming directly from there. And the way to act on this impulse is through the Virgo energy, and we see that showing up in the Hermit as well, right? So a time to give rather than take, right? So it's a time to give. So what is that? What would that mean for you in the Fool and the Hermit energies right here? It would be instead of being obsessed with self and what the self needs, especially, well, I would say ego, especially. So ego needs are in the way, really. Ego needs are in the way. Ego wants to receive too much. It's taking too much from you. And it's a message saying, no, stop that, right? Nourish, nurture self. And it's like give to yourself, and give to others around you as a way of going deeper into your spiritual practice over here. And as you do that, so in this Fool energy, when you are actually giving more rather than taking, right? That helps you go deeper within, connect, find that bridge between the external and the internal. And then is the expect powerful change. Okay, clear. So when you do that, when you go into and find that balance between, balance the Hermit energy so that you can go within in that right moment where it's not too little or not too much, as we mentioned earlier, where, not so much that you are ignoring the needs of others, and not so little that you're ignoring the needs of self, right? The higher self is wanting to communicate with you, wants to talk to you. And the way that it can communicate with you best is if you have a balance between going within and without. So that means external experiences as well as time for introspection and self-connection. When you have both, because that opens the door for the most amount of messages to be received, right? You see signs in the external. When you go out, you might meet people that you need to see. And and if you just stay stuck in the way that you are in your unbalanced state within this, that blocks this connection, this powerful change that has to occur. And then we go into the flow state, pleasure, effortless, harmony, ease and flow. And that is when it's time to take action. So Beautiful, beautiful. So I will quickly read from the guidebook of the New Moon in Aries card. Yeah, because I really feel guided to read some portions of that. It says, the flame is lit, a wonderful new start beckons, and you're on the right track. Take this card as a big yes from the universe. This is the time to really tune into your dreams. You may still have a long way to go, but you're on your way. Determination, self-assertion, and bravery are called for, but the hot fires of Aries is driving you towards success in whatever endeavor you're asking about. And caution, don't go too fast and forget your manners. Treat people well as you charge towards your goals. You'll create much better karma for yourself. So here we go. Again, it's about that. The caution is around going too fast and forgetting about things, or being a bit like a bull in a china shop, huh? Or a ram in a china shop, really. Yeah, so that there is that in you as well, right? So this is something to look out for. The energy in you right now is a little impatient, a little too swift, and it just wants to rush through things and yeah, and break. And if if things break along the path, it's fine, almost. But it causes damage. The collateral is not fine for you. So slow down a little bit. Let this fire fuel. Let this fire really fuel the Fool and the Hermit energies in you, instead of sort of going in the external like that as yet, or going in the external if you're too internal, and if you're too internal, then if you're too external, going into the internal more. So it's that balance, right? That balance is needed in this, and that is again what this card is warning about. The caution is to maintain that balance. Oh, hello, Einstein. Hi, everyone. Meet my little cat. Beautiful clarifiers. Thank you, Munal, that. Right. Now, let's see. Let's get more into this. Yeah, let's get more into this, more in depth. Into this reading. I'm not going to use the Fountain Tarot to help guide us in these energies a bit more. Let's see what comes out. Please help us connect to the higher self. Please speak to us through these cards. For the Aries Rising Collective on their soul path. Where are they? Any messages of healing and love for Aries Rising on their soul path's journey? Cards are coming out. Ooh, the Star. What a beautiful deck this is. Nine of Cups. Wow. One more card, please. Thank you. The Nine of Wands reversed. All right. I'm just gonna also keep these here. Okay. Now the Star. This, what a beautiful, beautiful card. And if you have a look, the Eight of Wands here, and under which we get the star, you can see the resemblance of the energies. It's like energy moving from this point. Yeah, beautiful. And the difference, what really stands out is this Eight of Wands energy is just like really electric, really sort of a bit too fast almost. And whereas this is more contained, right? So here we see Goddess Noi just sort of she is in complete control of the light and the fire and the energy here. And this is the card of all is well and calmness, right? And it's like it's an invitation to rest and heal. It's like it's almost like here to temper this, to say, there's a right course of action. So it's like a star guides the way, right? So when you're lost, and so the ancients used to use stars to help navigate across, dark seas and tumultuous weather. So yeah, so that's what the star card really is: direction, healing. It says all is well. Just follow my light. Don't worry. Don't panic. Just stay calm. Follow my light, and all is well. So there's a lot of possibilities and potential futures opening for you. So we know that this energy is like really swift, a lot of energy in one go, and gets expended quite rather quickly. I mean, we're not able to maintain, like if you are sprinting, right, you can't run for as long a time as you can if you steady your pace. And the star really is here to help you steady your pace, because there's a need for persistent focus as you resolve and reconcile your past to your present, right? So in that energy, that is what's required from you, persistent focus. But this is very like almost ADD kind of energy right here, right? Like a lot of force and then gone. Yeah, so this is here for that. Yeah, so if you remember, the moon was your hard work is paying off, right? And the star is how it gets paid off, really. So tap into that energy. And then we have the moon. So we all know that the moon represents the unconscious, the depth. As you start to balance out your relationship to giving and taking, right? As that begins to balance out, you go within and overcome this journey, which is overcoming your own illusions, overcoming your ego, just going within deeper, connecting deeper to the depth, because the depth is how we connect to the heights, really. And when you do that and you go into the hermit energy, you find that balance between the internal and the external, and you land straight in the Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups, it's often known as the wish fulfillment card. It's like this moment of emotional fulfillment and satisfaction, a joy that you're inviting everyone to share with, right? And it's a card of gratitude, really. It's like it says, really, as he reflects back on the events and choices that brought him here, he gives thanks, and as they say, joy shared is happiness returned. And there's something about karma here as well. When we talked about the too much hermit energy, where others are ignored, their needs are ignored, and there's too much absorption with the ego, right? Self-absorbed energy. So when that is balanced out, right, then your karma, you're good on your karma. And we know that karma is about treating others and self, and Yeah, this is what helps you heal from your karma, basically. That's what I'm getting over here. It helps you heal your karma. Hmm. And then as your karma is healed here, and you have a balanced giving and sharing, giving and receiving, sorry. Um, yeah, we're looking at flow, harmony, where you can take action, right? And then we have the Nine of Wands in reverse. Now, the Nine of Wands is a very, very interesting card. It is that one last final push in the hope of completing what he started, right? So it's like one last final push. Extreme exertion, right? Like one last, give it everything you got, one last push and see if it works. It's that kind of energy, this one right here. So, if you don't overcome, right? If you don't overcome this lack of balance that is showing up for you today, if you don't overcome that, we're talking about a lot of wasted energy. So all this energy, this extreme force, this thing, it just goes to waste, right? It's just, yeah, it's like setbacks, obstacles, adversity, and you don't reach this. When you don't reach this, basically, let's get some more clarification on this Nine of Wands. Please clarify this Nine of Wands. Thank you. Temperance. Look at that. We've got temperance. This reading has been about balance, finding that balance between the inner and the outer. Temperance and the devil. Yeah. Wow. So we've gotten the temperance and the devil, 14 and 15 together to clarify the Nine of Wands reversed. Wow. I will say this seems really important. We've received two major arcanas right here. This is an important message. And I would like to briefly read an excerpt for both of them, actually, from the guidebook. Now, temperance. We often look at options from an either-or perspective, but temperance shows us that all things are possible, even when they appear to be at odds. Life is not static, and neither are our needs. They vary across a lifetime in each situation. Through awareness and listening, the universe reveals what your soul truly needs, not just what your ego says. It's not as complicated as you make it. Put your perceptions and impatience aside to create space for alchemy. So here we go again, right? Impatience has been brought up too here. So again, with the swiftness and this is where the star comes in, another major arcana. This is quite the reading. I mean, you have 6 major arcanas show up right now, like already. And we haven't even touched the Sisoli yet. So you are being very strongly guided. Spirit really wants you to do this, really wants you to successfully find this balance that you need with the Hermit. The bridge between the internal and the external. So going within, coming without, finding that right balance right there. Yeah. So now let me read from the devil. The forces in life that genuinely move us forward are not always black and white. They are complex and powered by fearsome and sometimes dangerous energy. The devil card is not about evil. It is about the forces of desire, indulgence, and abandon. Natural human qualities that flow in both directions, resulting in either growth and freedom or bondage and addiction. The solution is extreme honesty with yourself and an assessment of what is actually needed. Surrender, commitment, restraint. The qualities themselves do not enslave us, only we can do that. So you see that? It's like, what do you need? Do you need more surrender, more commitment, more restraint? And this is what this reading is really showing. It's like finding that balance. So finding that balance between all of these polarities, really. when we take the time to truly feel into what is needed in a situation, um, then we get that is when we truly receive that guidance, where we know what is missing, what needs to increase, what needs to decrease, and that finding that is really what this is saying, that this is the process through which, so from here to here, right, you end up in temperance after that. And the star and the moon are here to guide your way. I mean, can you ask for better celestial guidance when you're going into the depths, where into the depths, into the dark and murky? You've got the moon to illuminate, right? The shadows, and you've got the star to show you your way. So you're being divinely guided here, and this is really, really important work that you must do. Now let's move really quickly to the Chikoli Tarot. And see how your inner child is doing. You know, they say that the inner child, that the divine speaks to us through the voice of the inner child. So how the inner child is supremely, divinely important in order to receive the guidance that we need. If we're not connected with the voice of our inner child, we often miss out on really, really important messages that come through in that voice. So we really need to learn to value and connect with that voice on our spiritual journeys. Yeah. So we'll just take a moment to center ourselves. Speak to us through these cards. Please let us know about the soul path journeys, the Aries Rising Collective. Any messages of healing and love and guidance for that? What is the inner child voice saying to Aries Rising right now? Look at that, Hanged Man in reverse. Okay. Let's see. Oops, that's too much. I knew temperance was coming. I knew it. So we've got the Chariot and we've got temperance. Right, okay. So, there is the need for a new perspective internally. That is what is needed here. Right. So we have the Hangman, Chariot, and Temperance. Incredible. Another 3 major arcanas are here for you. Right? And Temperance, of course, Temperance had to come. This whole reading has been about finding that balance, right? And the Chariot is right here. And if you remember the new moon in Aries card, it is time to take action. So let's see what is needed for the inner child right now. And I think this is what we're looking at. Fresh perspective really is needed. It's like that is what the inner child really needs. So notice how like she sprouts another head to look at the same situation with a different mind, really. So it's a whole new mind to look at the same situation, and that is what your inner child needs. That fresh perspective. It's like it's too hung up, on the old patterns and the old ways, sort of being. Yeah, because the old perspective, the way that the inner child is seeing things, right, is keeping it stuck. Yeah, it's keeping it stuck in apathy and resignation almost, right? It's like the inner child needs this new perspective to sort of create that movement to overcome the obstacles, right? It's the inner search for truth, the struggle to untangle, right? So it's we know that the chariot really represents sort of overcoming contradicting forces, finding that balance, right? So you have two forces, two polarities, and how do you meet them? And then if you see that, that's also a part of temperance. Now, in the Thoth deck, the temperance card is known as art, and here there they mix. It's a mixing of fire and water. We know too much fire puts out evaporates water, and too much water puts out fire, right? So it's like the art of mixing fire and water, so neither obliterate the other. So for instance, if you look at the polarity of good and bad, where the good doesn't threaten the bad and the bad doesn't threaten the good, right? It's like finding that place, because the world is what it is. It has good and it has bad, right? There are things we like, there are things we dislike. This is just how life is. There is no way, when we go on war with reality, really, it's just complete wasted energy and effort, isn't it? Because if you really look at it, no amount of fighting with this quartz, right, is gonna make it into copper. I might be able to find some copper within it. That's the best I can hope for. But I can't turn this into copper, can I? You know, within this plane, within my human abilities, uh, within the bounds of our material world, our current reality. Um, and really, that's the lesson here. Hmm? Now, the Chariot card, right? She holds something precious. Originally, in other traditions, this is the either the Holy Grail or from Egyptian Indian tradition. That's basically the blood of voluntary sacrifice. Um, so it represents sort of the exaltation, the sort of noble, dedicated um, energy. Yeah. So in this depiction, this little doll um, of the girl, right? She or the little baby is the one that has to be that the chariot is going to carry. Now, the vehicle here represents the body, and the four tires which carry it forward are the emotions. Um, so if you notice, she's just sitting here. She's not physically trying to move the chariot, right? The chariot moves based on emotions and balance and inner harmony, and that's where we see the temperance card as well, mixing contradictory forces, those that do not mix, right, and creating something new from it. So here you have the fish that is flying her across the clouds. And notice how she is completely surrendered, fully trusting, right? And so here we have the water and air element mixing in this beautiful way, creating clouds that would lead to rain and productivity. Yeah, really. So, yes. Let's see if there is any clarifiers that wish to come out. Anything to clarify? Yes, beautiful. Okay. So we have the Three of Discs, the works. So as is above, so is below. When you go into the work that you're doing in its depth, it takes it to a higher plane, right? And here you can see that she's sitting here and she's receiving counsel from others. So others are here to help, guide. It's a good idea to listen to them. This is a very positive card, right? It's the card of bringing into the physical. Yeah, it's a card of manifestation, of work, of sort of building. Yeah, so this is the work. This is your work, really. I think this sums up the whole reading. The work that you have to do is one of finding balance and of reconciling opposites, really, holding them together through temperance, art, harnessing opposing forces, internal opposing forces here. Okay, so a new perspective that will help you to harness internal forces, internal from within, right? To create. Yeah, to create new things, right? That's the whole thing of art and temperance. It's like it's alchemy, it's transmutation, it's converting one to another, something new being born. Now, to help pull your advice cards, how can you overcome this? So we're gonna pull from a yogi's path oracle to help guide you in this process that you must undertake in the beginning of this new year to get on your soul path. Let's do the Aries Rising Collective. What advice do you have for the spread? Thank you. All right. So we have Lakshmi and Niyamas. And then from the Work Your Light Oracle. Work Your Light Oracle. Go. Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing. And then from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, let's see what advice we have. For the Aries Rising Collective and your soul path, self-worth and abundance, and release. Okay. So you've gotten Lakshmi, the goddess Lakshmi in reverse. Now, when you feel like you are not enough, you will not have enough. Lakshmi has come to you to remind you that you already are the things that you are seeking. Abundance, beauty, radiance, success, all it takes is tuning in. When you truly embody who you are, you become bountiful with the riches of life and your inner beauty shines. Pay attention to your inner monologue. This is that hermit energy right here. Pay attention to your inner monologue. How are you speaking to yourself? When you constantly tell yourself you are poor, fat, unworthy, or ugly, the universe will respond to continue your story. Create a positive self-dialogue and tell yourself how beautiful and abundant you already are. Sprinkle compliments and smiles to all those you encounter, and the Lakshmi within you will come to light. Now, the last card that we pulled from the second last card we pulled from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle was abundance as well. So there we go. Very clear message. You need to lean into the energy of abundance. You're a little bit in lack right now. And it is happening because of not paying attention to your inner monologue, really. And the next card, Niyamas in reverse, really guides you about this. It says, this is the time to go within. The answer to your question lies inside of yourself. By turning inward and doing the internal work, everything around you will shift. Are you practicing purity, sausa, in your body and mind through asana and pranayama, i.e. yogic postures and controlled breath? Are you holding on to toxic thoughts in your mind? It's time to move towards santosa, contentment, and realize that there is a purpose to every struggle that you've gone through. Use your tapas, discipline energy, to move past your limiting beliefs and procrastination to begin your true swadhyaya, study of yourself. So there's a disciplined energy that is required as opposed to this sort of electric energy, and this is where the star comes in and helps you with that. And that helps you really to move past the limiting beliefs and procrastination as you study yourself. And remember, when you're studying yourself, it is really important to study yourself in relation to others as well. So both aspects of the study are important. There is the study where you go within completely, withdrawing from the world. That also plays a very crucial role. And the other is to have that with as you are going about in the world, to study how you are in different situations with different people. And for that, we need the external. Remember, this is the bridge between the internal and the external. Now let's read from the Work Your Light Oracle. You got the card of transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. So things are changing at a cellular level. You are not who you were a year ago or who you will soon be. You are in between, emerging, half risen, half fallen. Keep doing the work. You are transforming. You will look back at this time with awe. So much is happening in your inner world and within yourselves. It's time to release old ways of being that have kept you in fight, flight, freeze mode, to choose a new way of being where trauma is not the driving force. So that is the calling right now. And this reading has already laid out most of what you need to do in order to allow for this to continue. As it says, you're in between, right? Emerging, half risen, half fallen. And so that's being in between the Fool and the Hermit, really. So, and then when you cross the Hermit stage, you've overcome, you've entered the spiritual, really. So up until the Wheel of Fortune, we kind of have the material world happening. And then we have the spiritual in the major arcana. And that's what we're looking at from there to here. And that's the transition you're making. And then finally, wrapping up this whole spread, we have 3 cards from Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Self-worth, abundance, and release. And now these 3 cards are very, very beautifully connected. So one is from the 2nd chakra, the 3rd chakra, and then the other is from the 7th chakra. Yeah, so these are the things from each chakra that have to be looked at, and I'm guided to just read the questions for each card to you to help in this inquiry and to help you on this journey. Now, the personal inquiry for self-worth is: how do I relate to the word deserving? Am I ready to allow myself to receive what others may not? See, this is where abundance comes in, really. Abundance is the mindset, where there is plenty to go around. If I am being offered something that others have not been offered, I do not feel guilty, because I deserve what I'm being offered, and others will get what they deserve as well. There's plenty for everyone to get, you see. So, this is how it engages the third chakra abundance card. Now, let's look at the questions of inquiry from the abundance card. It says, be wary of using your financial situation as an excuse to avoid doing something. Are your thoughts and actions around money empowering or disempowering you? So it's like, think about your relationship with money here and abundance, right? So there's a little story here that I would love to go over, which is that the coin is telling how a man foolishly drops him down a drain. And instead of trying to get the coin out, the man started crying instead. Later, an enterprising little girl uses a string and chewing gum to fish her out. The coins remember how this girl saved them along with many others and eventually bought a house. So I think there's a strong need in you to release guilt here, really. It's like your relationship with abundance is being called to here. As you connect with your soul, you feel free to receive what you deserve, really. You know very well what you deserve when you have self-worth, right? You know what you deserve. That is the idea. Yes. And let's get into the final card, release. And then I will connect these for you. So this is about personal responsibility and release of blame. It is time to clear the debris and move on. You cannot move forward while you continue to hide. Now, remember how in this they were saying, are you using the things that you lack to avoid other things, right? Like sometimes we use lack as an excuse to deprive ourselves of things, right? So it's like, oh, I procrastinated, so now I can't allow myself to have fun. I can't work or have fun, right? That's a lack mentality right there. So yeah. And so the release card really asks you the question: are you ready to face your past and let it go? Are you ready to let go? And this brings me to the bottom deck of the bottom card of the Fountain Tarot, which is the Eight of Cups. It's the card of letting go, of leaving behind what does not serve us or just doesn't quite, it's not quite it. It might be something that gives us a little, but not everything that we deserve. So we leave it behind because we know we deserve better. That's what that card is. Then at the bottom of the Thoth, we have the Knight of Swords. Now we know that the Knight of Swords, in the Thoth deck, the Knight of Swords basically would translate as the king of the suit of swords, right? And so the Knight of Swords kind of embodies this energy. It's swift moving. It's the fiery part of air, right? Somebody who's active, skillful, clever, fierce, courageous, but unreflective. So really, I think you are being called. I mean, if I would sum up this whole reading with one sentence, I would say, self-reflection to bring balance to the between the inner and the outer world, the spiritual and the material. This has to be balanced, and that's what this reading is about for you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this helped. If you like this, please do subscribe. I will be putting up more videos for each signs, risings. I will also do Venus signs. I really do believe that for these readings, it is more accurate if we group the collective based on the most dominant aspect in the astrology chart, which here for love readings will be Venus signs. For emotions will be moon signs, right? Ascendant for spiritual integration. We'll use for for personality integration. We will use the North Node for karma, the South Node, etc. So that will be the style of this channel. That is. Yeah, I feel like the dominant energy in each area should be the energy that we use to group the collective into subgroups, really. So yes, here we go. That is it for this reading. I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, please like, share, subscribe. This is my very first video on YouTube about this, and yeah, very excited to meet you all. Very, very excited. So with that, I wish you this journey. I wish you success on this journey. I pray that you find the balance that you need, and that you are able to make it to your Six of Cups, where you can act and flow and effortless manifestation. I really do pray that these energies that are within your grasp, you're able to harness them with the Chariot and move forward. With that, take care. Goodbye.